What's up, guys? Jamie here with Hallman Window Washing for another quick tip. And this is more of a story and a learn from me type of thing. You know, you see a lot of people, a lot of home service people, a lot of online influencers always talk about the good stuff, about all the good things that happen. Hey, do this, I did it, it worked. But I want to talk about something too that kind of almost went wrong today. We had a job, it was a big job. I had all my guys there. It was 4 guys and me. And, you know, I had already checked the job site out. I was already there when I did the estimate. This is one of the few ways I was able to, this was one of the few times I did like an in-person estimate. Pretty much I have a rule, like if I know it's going to be over $1,000, I'll go do it in person. If not, we're going to do it over the phone. We're going to do it online. We're going to do it Google Earth, whatever. So I knew what entailed to this job, but I didn't really know what entailed to this job. So we got there, I did my spiel, the guys were getting ready. I went to the door, hey, this is me, we're here, awesome, this is what we're gonna do. I went over the work order, telling them this is what we're gonna do. It was a dad I was talking to, and the kids were running around, and he was like, yep, do your thing, whatever. So we went in there, and I was showing the guys kind of what entailed, giving them their marching orders, all that. And we got to the first room, and I wanted to see, because this was a Pella job. And if you have been in window cleaning for a while, you know Pella jobs, right? And like I said, I had seen these windows, but I didn't really see these windows. I did a quick walk around, and most of the time the guy was talking to me. I was trying to just like kind of look around while entertaining him. So it was kind of hard to like really pay attention. But we got in there, and we started looking at these Pellas. I'm like, okay, guys, this is how you do it. And I went to take the first one out. The dang thing wouldn't budge. So this was a crank out Pella, okay? And it had about 9 or 10 little, what do you call them? Like release points, okay? All around the window. And so I released them all. Usually when you do that, you'll feel a little bit of release. This thing wouldn't budge. I got out my plastic tool, was messing with it, would not budge. I'm like, good Lord, this thing is on there. One of my guys was like, hey, I have a metal one. I'm like, I don't want to use a metal one, but I got to see if this thing, will come out, because there's like 40 of these things, 40 Bellas. There was over 50 stationary windows, a ton of other Frenchies, like just big old house. So I'm getting this thing out, wouldn't budge. Move over to the next one. Did the same thing, wouldn't budge. I'm like, man, this is a problem, right? Like all these thoughts going towards my head. If you own a window cleaning business, you own any kind of home service business, when things kind of get a little frustrating, a lot of thoughts start running through your head. So I took a breath. I was like, all right, popped them, and it finally released, but it didn't really release. So these pellets hadn't been touched in over 20 years, and you can see the fog in between them, and that's what the property owner was concerned about. And I was like, yeah, no problem, we can clean that. Well, to get these things off, you had to like pry it down, right? Very slowly, because if you bend them too hard, it's gonna break the glass. And, me and the guys were talking, we're like, holy crap, this is gonna take us a very long time. So one thing I harp about, if you've watched my videos, is communication, right? Keeping communication up with the client. I immediately went to the client, I told the guy, stop what you're doing. I'm gonna go to the client, explain to him what's going on. And he was like, yeah, we've lived here about 5 years, never had them done, and we don't think they were really ever done. The house was like 20 years old before that. So these very thick rubber gaskets that were holding this thing on was almost like adhered to the other, part of the window that they were on, because the whole thing comes out. If you know pellets, like the whole thing comes out. So I was like, hey, listen, we're gonna do our best. I'm not trying to break a window. We're having a lot of difficulty getting these things off. And they had sliding Pellas, they had, crank out Pellas. Like, it was gonna be a task. And I told them, look, we're gonna do our thing, but if we can't get it out, we're not gonna force it. I'm gonna take it off the invoice. I'm gonna do a final count. Like, you're not gonna get charged for anything we didn't do, but this is kind of where we are. And he's like, yep, no problem. And I got to thinking about it, and like, in summer things kind of shrink up a little bit because of the heat, so it probably did not help. If we were like late fall, it probably would have been a little bit better, because things kind of release a little bit with the cold. But it was kind of a sticky situation. So we were just working through, and we got some out, and some didn't come out, right? Like a lot of the high profile ones came out. A lot of the, a lot of the lower ones we could not budge. A lot of the sliders that were right in front of you. We also had an issue where me and Kyle, one of my main guys was, we had one out, and inside of it was a, shade, right? Where you can adjust, and we accidentally tilted a little bit and all the shade pieces fell out. You're talking over 50 little bitty shade pieces that were inside these little bitty, I spent over an hour getting that thing put back together. And, but now we know, right? Like, experience is huge. So now we know, kind of moving forward as a unit, like, hey, we got to be careful. We got to make sure, we test these Pellas. And I also communicated with them. I was only on the job site for about 3 hours. I was in constant touch with them throughout the day because I had other stuff going on. And, at the end of the day, I sent over an audio message to the client. I was like, hey, look, this is what happened, because she wasn't home. It was her husband, and I talked to the nanny, but I wanted to strictly communicate with her because she was my initial point of contact. I was like, hey, this is what happened. This is why. I'm not going to charge you for what we didn't do. Moving forward, this is what we can do. Just keep the line open. And she was like, that's cool. I'd rather have a dirty window than a broken window. She totally got it. The husband was cool about it, but that could have went way worse. We could have broken a window trying to force it because we had to get them done, right? Like anything, any job we could do. No, we're gonna suck up our pride and be like, look, we can't do this. We don't feel comfortable doing this. And that's one thing I've learned moving forward in the company is, like, a lot of the times I used to try and bite off stuff that I couldn't really chew, right? Or I had trouble chewing, if you know what I mean. And as I grow as a company, as a person, as a business owner, as a leader, I'm realizing, hey, I don't have to do it all, for one. For two, I don't need to be no superhero trying to, like, correct, get with this job that should I probably taken a Pella out during the initial estimate? Yeah. Now I know going forward, I'm going to do that. But that's half the battle, guys. This woman paid within 3 minutes of me sending the invoice. She was happy. Everybody else was happy. It was a good day. My guys got paid. They got tipped. Like, it was a good day. But it could have went way worse. We ran to a roadblock. We communicated. We got through it. They finished the job. And we move on. Tomorrow's a new day. I guess the piece of advice I want to say is, when you have issues come up, because we always have issues come up. Some jobs are a lot easier than others. Some jobs are a lot harder than others. Communicate with the client. Be respectful, be open. I'm sorry, I can't do this. We're gonna do our best, but this is what the roadblock we're running into. You're gonna figure out pretty quickly if you want them to move forward as a client. But that's honest. Honesty is key, rather than trying to hide stuff. I could easily just shove that blind back in there and did my thing, half butt, whatever. But I did it the right way. It took me some time, and it worked. So, little story time, but hope it helped you, because it did. Today was a very big learning experience for me, but everything turned out well. So hope your week's going well, guys. If you're going to the Huge, I'll see you at the Huge 2025, baby. Peace.